Welcome, welcome, welcome everybody. My name is Ben Bowler from Unity.earth, and it's a real pleasure and joy to welcome you to this grand event, this awakening to humanity's sacred mission, an International Symposium and Call to Action. This event was first initiated by the call of Ervin Laszlo, who's here with us today to share about his vision for inviting all of us onto this journey into humanity's sacred mission. And on behalf of Unity.earth, Purpose Earth, the Source of Synergy Foundation, the Laszlo Institute, the Hollow Movement, One World, Good of the Whole, Unify, Light on Light, Sign Network, Hubcast Media, Connection Field, and so many other global organizations, we welcome you to this grand gathering for this symposium. And we're going to begin today with an invitation from the renowned author, Jude, author of Cosmic Hologram and the Story of Gaia. So friends, welcome to this. This is an engaging session. Please, everybody is going to participate across the next 3 days. We're looking forward to interacting with you and hearing from you. We've got really amazing designs set up for all of this. So hold on to your seats. Let's get ready. And without further ado, let's go to you, Dr. Jude Currivan.
Thank you, Ben, and thank you everyone for us being together. In responding to Ervin's call to awaken humanity's sacred mission, I invite us to do so as remembering that we're microcosmic co-creators of the sacred cosmic meaning and purpose of our living and loving universe that meaningfully exists to purposefully evolve as a unitive entity. And as we do so, to breathe together. Everything breathes. People breathe, plants breathe, planets breathe. Our whole universe breathes. Our universe began to breathe nearly 14 billion years ago. Instead of the implied chaos of a big bang, it began as the first moment of a wonderfully fine-tuned, beautifully ordered and ongoing big breath. Like a baby, it was born as simple as possible to be able to grow and vitally to evolve. As its big breath continued with space expanding from its minuscule birth and time flowing from past to present to future, its evolutionary journey from simplicity to complexity and ever greater levels of diversity and individuated self-awareness and coherence led from hydrogen and helium to stars and galaxies, and eventually to planets and plants and people. The hydrogen in the water of our bodies and in the waters of our planetary home Gaia is only a few minutes younger than our universe. All else that makes us up and Gaia was created in stars billions of years ago. Our story is the story of our universe. Yet what really is the reality of our universe, and who really are we? Instead of a story of separation, scientific breakthroughs are now discovering and converging with indigenous and spirituality-based wisdom teachings to reveal that our entire universe exists and evolves as a holy, unitive, unified entity with everything interrelated and interdependent with everything else. By individually and collectively remembering that we're inseparable from each other, Gaia and the whole world, it seems to me that our universe is inviting us as family members of its wondrous and vast communities of life to awaken to our sacred mission. to become its and their co-evolutionary partners, and to take our next steps into the dawning and emergent adventure of a unitive age. As its ongoing big breath breathes through us and our little breaths, in every moment, our sacred mission is both vast and intimate. I invite us to take together, and with loving and joyful awareness, 3 breaths, and joined by a golden thread of breath, our shared intention and commitment to awakening our sacred mission and the incredible journey ahead of us. So let's take our 3 breaths together. Thank you.
I'm going to read my poem, The Golden Thread, which I wrote in September last year at the sacred site in Greece called Epidavros. Setting out from afar, we are tasked to undertake a journey, to follow our golden thread into the labyrinth of life. Wandering along, we look out for something, when first we need to look inside for stillness. Content in silence within, we can proceed with surer step along the path, present in and to the moment. Sometimes we simply stumble, we lose the thread, forgetting who we are and where we're going. Just wait and trust. Don't think, don't fret, don't rush around. Listen to the quiet voice of your heart, the heart that knows, the heart that deeply feels. Only then can the golden thread appear, and in no time you'll find yourself at home, at the center of the labyrinth of life and love.
Beautiful. Thank you, David. Thank you, David. Thank you, Jude. What a beautiful beginning to today, to this session. Thank you for the big breath and the golden thread. And these are going to run through the whole of the 3 days. Let me just share a little bit about what we're excited about. So many great speakers, so much great content. One of the things that we're using this symposium, which you're going to get the hang of over the next few days, is a tool called Mentimeter. And it's really for getting feedback in real time. So let me just pull this up quickly so we can show it to you. We asked a question at the top, and there are different ways to get to these Mentimeters. One is through the QR code. We'll also share the links in the chat. But this was one we're going to ask, right throughout the next weekend, right throughout the weekend, which is, how do you currently feel about the future of humanity? And you can add your response at any time. Just go in there. You can either open your camera on your phone and click follow the QR code, or the team will put this link into the chat, both in the Zoom room, where it's wonderful, by the way, to see 250 people in the Zoom room. That's fantastic. Welcome everybody there. And also out watching it on the broadcast through Hubcast and Unify and Unity.earth TV. So one of the interesting things about this is if we push space, it'll actually cluster these responses into different categories. So you can see here, we'll see this evolve over the weekend: optimism, worry, uncertainty, of course, and the consciousness shift we can see down the bottom there. So this is just beginning. There's going to be more of these opportunities to interact as we go through. So we want to hear from you. We want to hear from everybody as we go through in this interactive session. It's the Lunar New Year. What a special time to have a symposium dedicated to awakening to humanity's sacred mission as we enter the year of the dragon. How appropriate and how auspicious and how wonderful to be here all together. And it really originally was one man's vision, which is Ervin Laszlo, to put out this call to awaken to humanity's sacred mission. Ervin Laszlo is a philosopher and systems scientist, the author, co-author, or editor of 106 different books that have appeared in a total of 25 languages. He's written over 400 articles and research papers, subject of a 1-hour PBS special, Life of a Modern-Day Genius. Laszlo is the founder and president of the international think tank, the Club of Budapest, and of the prestigious the Laszlo Institute of New Paradigm Research. He's a recipient of various honors and awards, including honorary PhDs from the United States, Canada, Finland, and Hungary. Ervin Laszlo received the Goya Award, the Japan Peace Prize in 2001. And we actually have Yuka Saionji, who's speaking as part of today's panel as well. So beautiful resonance there. Also the Assisi Mandir of Peace Prize in 2006, and was nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize in 2004 and 2005. It's a great honor, Ervin Laszlo, to have you here at this symposium, your symposium, our symposium. Everybody's gathered together, all these different groups, and it was your initial invitation to this incredible idea of awakening to humanity's sacred mission. So Ervin, over to you.
Well, Ben, Jude, David, and friends, everything that needs to be said and for an opening has been said. It's a wonderful way to organize a 3-day symposium. I'm deeply grateful for that. I admit to the sin of having proposed this topic. Awakening to our humanity's sacred mission, which is our sacred mission. It's up to me to complete this panorama of what is the task in front of us by just adding 2 concepts, because everything else has already been said very brilliantly, and I do not need to repeat it. The 2 things are love and consciousness. As we move through the evolutionary cycle, the evolutionary process from the big breath of the Big Bang to a coherent, increasingly coherent, but very non-linearly evolving universe, we need to remember that this is not a process that is outside us. This is a process that is us, that has created us, and its creation, its belonging, is something that is essential, but we have forgotten it. Largely human beings, modern day humanity, is developing, acting as if we would be outside of this big cycle of process of development, of evolution. I like to use a metaphor. Dancing, because we are moving, we are breathing, as we just heard, as we are acting together, responding, provoking, challenging, satisfying, giving birth together. This is a dance, and this dance is with our home planet, with this part of the universe, which is our part, which is our universe. So I invite you to think about this. If you are going to dance with the world around you, as you must, because you are not outside of it, then let's dance with the universe. We access the universe through nature on this planet, through the biosphere, through living things. And because the planet is part of the larger unit, which is the solar system, which is a part of the system of solar systems and the galaxy is part of the meta galaxy. It's all one quantum universe, and we are in it. We have forgotten it. Let's dance with the planet, not just on the planet, not beyond it, but with it. That means that everything we do has to be conscious of the fact that we are a conscious element of a great process, the greatest process we could ever conceive, the evolution of the universe. We are a mini evolution of that giant evolution, part of that holographic process in which every part mirrors and includes all the other parts. Here we are. It's time to take stock. The world as we have known it has changed. We are entering a new era. It's an era that moves from extensive growth to intensive development, from conquest, from trying to own things, back to who we are, back to being a part, not a small part, a decisive part. Because how we feel this is the sense of meaning of love, unconditional love. We are belonging together. And what holds us together is this feeling of love. What is it that's developing? What is it that's growing? In one word, I would say consciousness. Consciousness is emerging in the universe. It's emerging on this planet. And there are myriads and myriads of planets, probably more planets in existence than there are stars in our galaxy. So let's take stock. We are at a historic turning point. What we perceive is how we act, and how we act will define and determine what happens to us and to the higher spheres of life in and on this planet. We are at a point that we need to remember that we are growing, we are becoming something else, something more than what we have really been and should have been. We have had an episode where we moved outside of this giant stream of evolution, thinking that we could conquer it. We could dance outside, we could do everything artificial that needs to be done, satisfy our short-term needs and never mind the long-term developments, the long-term requirements. So it's time to change so that the world around us can change, to become really a part of the giant dance of the universe, a dance of coherence, of increasing coherence. Our purpose, our mission on this earth is to advance consciousness, to make it more coherent, more inclusive, and to bring to this blue-green planet the sense that it is not here by accident, that it's doing something. It's a transceiver of the consciousness that exists in the universe, and that we can perceive, we can elaborate and transmit, so that this blue-green planet becomes a hub of living, loving consciousness. Poetic, yes, but that's good, as David already has shown. But besides that, it's also science, as Jude has shown. It is the new poetic science, the new spiritual science, or scientific spirituality, become part of the evolution that goes on in the universe and become a local hub that contributes coherence and oneness, so that joined with other hubs in myriad places in this galaxy and elsewhere in the universe, together we can join and create the universe as a giant development, a giant breath, if you like, to evolve into oneness, into coherence, into dimensions that only the deepest spiritual prophets and spiritual masters could ever conceive. We are part of that. So let's think about it, but let's do something about it. And let's find out how we can evolve to coherence, oneness, with love in this part of the universe. That's the task of the symposium. How we do it, we have 3 days to work on. Thank you for joining these 3 days this is a unique chance to remember who we are, what the world is, and to change it to what it's meant to be. Develop away from this episode of trying to conquer, trying to master everything, come back into the embrace of evolution in the universe. Thank you for taking this on. And remember, this is the beginning. We want to continue. Our sacred mission is to dance with the universe, through the planet, with each other. Thank you for joining us. And I wish we all ourselves and each other a truthful, a pleasant, and enjoyable, and a meaningful 3 days ahead of us. Thank you to the organizers again. Thank you, Ben, and all. You have done a marvelous job. We are ready to go. Thanks for joining us.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much, Ervin Laszlo, for that eloquent and beautiful message. Thank goodness this is going to be available to watch on demand, because I think we need to go back and listen to that again and again, that flourishing of consciousness that you're speaking us into. Thank you, Ervin. And Ervin recently sat down and did a longer 30-minute brilliant interview. And we're going to be sharing that link out through all the different places and spaces, because it's really a part of this call to humanity's sacred mission. What you've just done so eloquently in 10 minutes, Ervin does beautifully as he unpacks it a little deeper in this great interview that goes for 30 minutes. So we'll make sure those links are shared around. Thank you very much. Thank you, Ervin. What a beautiful beginning. We're off in a good way. Well done. Please stay with us, because our next extraordinary speaker is Robert Atkinson. And Robert, PhD, author, speaker, and developmental psychologist, is a 2017 Nautilus Book Award winner for The Story of Our Time, From Duality to Interconnectedness to Oneness, and a co-editor of Our Moment of Choice, Evolutionary Visions and Hope for the Future in 2020. He's also the founder of One Planet Peace Forum and Story Commons, an internationally recognized authority on the life story interviewing, life story interviewing, a pioneer in the techniques of personal myth-making and soul-making, and a member of the Evolutionary Leaders Circle, a project of the Source of Synergy Foundation. Bob Atkinson, it's wonderful to have you here on the symposium, and we're looking forward to hearing your, following Ervin's comments, your own keynote as we begin day one of the symposium.
Thank you, Ben. It's a great pleasure to be here with you all. And I want to thank the esteemed Ervin Laszlo for gathering us around this most vital theme. We're all here with a common mission, as well as a personal mission. There's humanity's collective sacred mission, and there's also each human being's individual sacred mission. Together, these all add up to countless ways of making the world a better place. This symposium is designed to make the sacred mission for each of us much clearer. As we each carry out our individual sacred mission, the collective mission becomes fulfilled. This is when we will experience our greatest success in life, knowing that our personal sacred mission is helping to carry out humanity's collective sacred mission. So I'd like to offer a big picture, holistic context for this theme from an interspiritual perspective that might serve as a container for what will be filled by all the contributions to come during this symposium. At the end, I'll add what our sacred activism might look like. The upshift in consciousness we're witnessing now has been a long time coming. It's really the culmination of a long evolutionary process. At the turn of this millennium, Brother Wayne Teasdale recognized this flow and put it all in perspective when he saw a shift in consciousness bringing about an interdependence of all spiritual traditions, a new interconnected universal civilization, and an emerging unitive consciousness available to all. He said this shift comes from the heart of all mysticisms. And this points to what Teilhard de Chardin referred to as a single energy at play in the world. We are at a watershed moment in humanity's progress toward fulfilling its sacred mission. A unitive force is impelling humanity toward its destiny. In our time, a universal spirituality is emerging, bringing humanity within reach of its sacred mission. Initiating periodic leaps of consciousness, each sacred tradition has contributed a unique quality in this unfolding process of humanity's spiritual heritage. In The Essential Mystics, Andrew Harvey identified these interrelated ways of approaching the unfathomable mystery as, from the first people's traditions, the way of reverent intimacy with nature. From ancient Greek mysticism, the way of beauty. From Hinduism, the way of presence. From Judaism, the way of holiness. From Taoism, the way of the Tao. From Buddhism, the way of clarity. From Christianity, the way of love and action. And from Islam, the way of passion. And in the mid-19th century, out of the division, discord, and inequality of Persia, Baha'u'llah, founder of the Baha'i International Community, renewed the spiritual verities by focusing on the way of unity as the means of healing the ills of an ailing humanity. This primary principle is vividly expressed in his statement: the well-being of humankind, its peace and security, are unattainable unless and until its unity is firmly established. This mid-19th century refocusing of spiritual values was followed by advances in all realms of human rights, from the end of slavery to women's rights, to the first convening of the world's religions, and the long struggle for civil rights. With these advances, humanity is entering the unitive age, a time promised by all sacred traditions when humanity will restore the world to wholeness, bringing about a new earth by establishing unity, harmony, and coherence on a global scale. We can see this unitive age and humanity's sacred mission as the fulfillment of the age-old vision of peace on earth. This next stage in the evolution of the planet will be when the universal golden rule is writ large and carried out on all relational levels. However, this long-awaited future depends upon the continued convergence of science and spirituality, because they are halves of the same whole, or complementary perspectives on the same reality. They both help us to understand the mysteries of our universe, identify the single force guiding evolution, and live in harmony with all things. Science and spirituality already converge in recognizing that the entire creation is the fullest embodiment of wholeness, and that unitive consciousness is the organizing principle upon which the entire universe was formed and still guides its ongoing evolution. Unitive consciousness in action is when our work in the world becomes one with that wholeness and motion all around us. But because evolution and history do not occur in a straight line, but rather in a non-linear, spiral-like process, divisions and separation persist, even as a universal spirituality is emerging to recreate the oneness of all things. So the important part of this unfolding and enfolding evolutionary process toward unity and wholeness is each of us discovering what our personally sacred mission is, how we fit into this flow, and what we can contribute to what is needed in this collective upshift toward unity, wholeness, and peace on earth. The way of unity is integral to our return to an undivided wholeness that is the nature of creation. The reason we exist, the goal toward which we evolve, is the realization of our unity. When we become the living embodied reflection of the sacred unity around us, we will see the fulfillment of humanity's sacred mission. This is achieved by living with a unitive consciousness where unity is all there is. In this consciousness, we are connected on a deep level with all other things. Achieving a unitive consciousness is also humanity's sacred mission. Our call to action is initiating and guiding the spiritual regeneration of ourselves, our communities, our institutions, and our social structures on all levels, so that the human family and all creatures on the planet can live together as a vast, all-inclusive wholeness in motion. There is no other way to build unified communities and create a peaceful world than by each circle of unity adopting and living by unitive principles facilitating the fullness, inclusivity, and belonging that will culminate in the unity of the entire human family and the eventual merging of all circles of unity into one unified circle of wholeness in which there will be no one left to exclude. So we invite you to reflect deeply on what your personal sacred mission is and how this will align with, support, and help fulfill humanity's sacred mission at this critical moment in our collective evolution. No greater, more sacred mission is there than to become the cause of peace and well-being to others. As all spiritual traditions affirm, love is a universal, timeless elixir, the supreme force through which the fulfillment of humanity's sacred mission will be achieved.
Bob Atkinson, thank you. Thank you so much for that wonderful discourse about the spiritual dynamics and the philosophical aspects and the urgency of fulfilling humanity's sacred mission in this time. Thank you, Bob. The position papers that you and Ervin had laid out months ago, which really have set the scene for everything that's unfolded since in this extraordinary global collaboration. And thank you again for that beautiful presentation. There's a lot of resonance in the chat over in the participants room, and people really enjoying what you were sharing. So thank you, Bob, for that eloquent piece. Let's pop back briefly to the Mentimeter. I just want to flash it up again for people here. So you've got it up there, so I don't need to share my screen. So there it is. You can see it up. And if you just scroll down, you can see the many different responses that are coming through. I'm not controlling that screen, but you can see the QR code will allow you to participate and to input into what you want to say there. And then we'll put it into categories a little bit later on. So I want to also mention this is a 3-day across the Lunar New Year. And then on Sunday, the 18th of February, something very special as part of this symposium is the harvest. And we have 2 sessions, also 10 a.m. Eastern time and 6 p.m. Eastern time, to come back together as a whole community in the one room, in the participants room, and get organized, coordinate, go forward in productive ways. So that's a very exciting, after these 3 days of rich engagements and conversations, sharings and discussions, to gather again on Sunday, the 18th of February. So very important that everyone is aware of that. All right, our next speaker is another extraordinary global sacred activist, I think would be a good way to describe it, coming from an amazing family that is dedicated their lives to facilitating and advancing peace on earth. Yuka Saionji is deputy chairperson of the Bayako Shinko Kai, spiritual organization dedicated to world peace and raising the consciousness of humanity that originated in Japan over 50 years ago. It was founded by Yuka's grandfather, Masahisa Goi, who advocated the universal peace prayer, may peace prevail on earth. So many of us have got these peace poles, as you'll see behind me, and 200,000 of them around the world, who advocated the universal peace prayer, may peace prevail on earth. Bayako teaches the divinity of all humanity and hosts interfaith events such as the Symphony of Peace Prayers, where leaders from different religions are invited to lead in their peace prayers, with more than 10,000 people pray together in harmony with each and every prayer. That's at Mount Fuji in Japan. Yuka also works with the sister organization of Bayako, the Goi Peace Foundation, which has done amazing work all around the world with youth and projects for peace. She's also involved in the World Spirit Youth Council, which is a movement to activate spirituality among young people from many countries. Yuka-san, it's wonderful to have you with us. Welcome to the symposium.
Thank you so much. It's such an honor to be here. Thank you so much for that amazing introduction. It has been my grandfather and my mother who has been doing all the work, but I'm just really honored to be here among such wonderful people, amazing people that I deeply respect, and also to know that there are 200, 300 people joining us and are together for this sacred mission. I think this will come up a lot of times, but for me, or for us as Byako Shinkoka, I think the humanity's sacred mission is really to know truly who we are. And I think the history and our common knowledge, or our society has been giving us so much information that we really lost the truth of who we are, that we are set to start in a totally wrong starting point. We're just a physical body or a being or someone that can't do anything or whatever, but we have this starting point, and we also set a wrong goal to what our life is or what we are. And so we say we want a wealthy life or a rich, successful, famous, whatever. And so from route A to route B, if we have the wrong starting point and the wrong goal, whatever route we may take, in the end, it's meaningless and we feel kind of empty. But the whole reason of that is that we forgot who we truly are, and we're not on the right starting point, and we're not aiming for I don't want to say right, but the true goal of who we are and why we are here on earth. My grandfather, Masahisa Goi, always uses the example of the sun and the ray of the sun. And I really love his metaphor. He always uses, I'm going to use the word God, but I hope that doesn't cause, for me, when I use the term God, it's about the source or the life force or the divinity. But I just use the word God because that's how we always expressed it. So my grandfather always used the sun and the ray of the light as the connection between God and human beings. There's the sun, the beautiful sun, and then there's the ray of the light that's coming from the sun. And I think each one of the rays are the humanity. And is the ray of the light the sun itself? No, but it's definitely the expression of the sun, and it comes from the sun. And when we go back to our origin, we'll greet the sun, we'll be one with the sun. The same thing as human beings, we are the expression of God, and we are one with God. And our goal in life is to go back to our origin and through our journey to express who we truly are, which is that we are one with the source, with that beautiful source. And my grandfather always says, the more closer the ray of the light comes to the earth, the more invisible and less seen it becomes, but it's there. And I think humanity has lost that connection. And we believe that it's so important to go back to that truth of who we are as humanity. And I'm just going to share a screen so that I can share with you my grandfather's words in his own words. I'm sorry. This is him and his words. Humanity has physical body, but we are not actually that. There is light that is flowing through pure conscious, that is light. And that you must not think you are the body. Please let go of the concept that we are our physical body. And to deny that we are one with God, to say that we are separated from God, is denying your truth. Then we are in darkness because we deny our light. We think God is somewhere outside. It's not outside. Nothing is outside. We are the expression of God. We are the spirit from God. And so this is my grandfather, and this is the words of prayer that he uses. And this is the way we always pray. May peace prevail on earth. May peace be in our homes and countries. May our missions be accomplished. We thank you, guardian deities and guardian spirits. And when he talked about our mission, like Mr. Atkinson was saying, we also have our own personal mission and humanity's mission. So each individual have our own life mission, but the whole bigger, greater human's mission is to show up as who we truly are, which is the God of the love of God, the light, the consciousness of where we come from, and to express that as truly who we are. That's the way he says the mission. So may our missions be accomplished. May our love and our conscious and the oneness of the source may be expressed and shown and revealed throughout our life. And he always says the guardian deities and guardian spirits, we can call it angels or anything, but knowing that this physical body is not the whole thing, and that there are many worlds beyond our physical third dimensions. And to be connected to that allows us and open up to realize the true existence of who we are. And then there's my mother, Masami Saionji, who took on over my grandfather. And she came up with this word, ware soku kaminari. And this was 30 years ago. And the first Chinese character, ware, is I, soku is instantly, kami is God, and nari is am. So we kept saying to ourselves and each other that I am instantly God. And then a few years later, she also brought up this word of Jindui, which is humanity, instantly is God. And it's one thing to just understand this by knowledge or as like words. But what was amazing about my mother is you can't just learn it, you really have to embody it. So she came up with this mission called the Shinjin Program, which is the Divine Being Program. What she made us do, and this was 30 years ago, first of all, she made us buy a counter like this, go out to public where there are many people, look at people who cross in front of you. And every time you see a person, you count, saying, she is a divine being. He is a divine being, this girl, this child. And we click on for 70,000 times until it really, truly becomes our true knowingness. Or she also made us do this mandala project, which is a 2-meter lines of 105 concentric circle. So when you look closely, it's written about that I am a divine being and that humanity is a divine being. And we also use the mudra, which is the way we express that. In Japan, there's a word called kotodama and katadama. Kotodama is the first word is words, and Dhamma is the spirit. So that it means that words carry spirit and that therefore the words have power. But we also have this word called kata Dhamma. Not many people know about this word, but this kata is form or movement. Is also has spirit. So we also have a mudra that expresses that we are all divine and that humanity is divine. And we use our whole body and our breathing to be one with that teaching and understanding. So it's really a long process to unlearn what we've learned about who we are and just rewiring ourselves to really, from our body and our minds and our spirits, that we are a divine spark. And so the call of action for me is to say, try the Shinjin program if you'd like, because it really changes you. It's one thing to learn that we are a divine being, and it's another to have a counter and count and look at a person and say, she's a divine being. Everyone is a divine being. And then there's the divine in spark in mudra, which is the most recent mudra that came out 7 years ago, expressing the movement that we are all a divine being. And lastly, to visit the Fuji Declaration, which has been born through Mr. Laszlo and my parents, to say that to ignite the divine spark in all beings, and to look at the world and say, what would the media look like if we understood that we are all a divine spark? What would education look like? What would the medicine look like? And we all help each other as a community to pursue that vision and truth. So that's my sharing for today. Thank you so much for letting me be a part of this. And I hope we can all walk the true journey as human being, recognizing that we all are this divine being on earth. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Yuka. Saionji, thank you so much for being with us. That was such a beautiful sharing and spiritually uplifting. And I know it's well past midnight for you where you are in Japan. So thank you for your commitment and dedication and devotion. A lot of beautiful comments in the chat talking about the wonderful things that you were sharing, but also acknowledging your grandfather and your grandmother and your mother and your lineage and your father. So thank you for sharing that. And let me just say that we're very excited to be coming to Japan in September as part of the Unity.earth U-Day 2024, Land of the Rising Sun. As part of that series, it goes all the way back to the last year of the dragon in 2012 when we started in Thailand. But that's going to be an amazing coming together. Thank you, Yuka, for all the work that you're doing on that to set the ground. And everybody is welcome to join the Tokyo Convergence, the Mount Fuji Fields of Healing, and the Hiroshima broadcast on the International Day of Peace. So you'll hear more about that and coming together. And there's a beautiful connection with Ervin and the Fuji Declaration and everything that the connection here. So deep, deep, deep gratitude to you, Yuka, and all the family and all the organizations that are represented there. We're very grateful, very blessed to have you with us today. Please get some rest, Yuka, if you need to as well, but stay with us if you can. Our next speaker is going to be Joe Martino. So Joe Martino is a thought leader, writer, and somatic coach whose work integrates modern science and wisdom teachings to explore the nature of individual and collective transformation. His professional work began in 2009 when he founded Collective Evolution. His platform has brought insights around consciousness, personal transformation, ancient wisdom, systems thinking, and emerging science to hundreds of millions of eyes. His 15 years of studying the interplay between individual transformation and societal change has brought forth the concept of embodied sense-making. Through embodiment, Joe invites people to explore the nature of themselves, their consciousness, nature, and their connection to society as we undergo a time of great change. Wonderful. Joe, it's wonderful to have you with us. Joe Martino, welcome. Welcome to the symposium.
Yeah, thank you. Just want to make sure you can hear me.
Gotcha. Loud and clear.
Perfect. All right. So yeah, I thank you for the introduction and thank you for allowing me to present here and have the opportunity to share a bit about what I feel humanity's sacred mission is, as well as just kind of this exploration into what I think can be embraced as a call to action for people. So I initially heard, the call, so to speak, into embracing this shift in consciousness that appears to be unfolding around us in 2009. And that's what kind of drove me into the creation of Collective Evolution. And at the time, when we think about what's going on today here in 2024 versus 2009, I was already feeling, as I'm sure many other people have, that there's this great need for change. There's this great need for something to unfold. And there's this call happening. Whereas here in 2024, it definitely feels that's much louder, not just for us who've been doing this, but for people that are starting to sense that something in our world right now is feeling maybe off, right? We often talk about this as a meta crisis. It's something that's unfolding in all aspects of, the human experience, whether it's the institutions, our society, our mental health, our physical health. We're looking at media breakdown. We're looking at polarization buildup. We're looking at this deep destruction of our environment, right? We're looking at a loss of meaning, a loss of purpose for a lot of people. And I think those are really, really interesting symptoms of the current ways in which we've been living our lives here on this planet for such a long time, and the worldview and the story that's been driving a lot of that. And as we arrive at this moment of meta-crisis, we sense that there's this evolutionary pressure that I think everybody who's spoken so far has touched upon in some way, shape, or form, that something is driving us deeper into inquiry about what is it that we can do and how can we respond to this. And to me, that plays into the question of the sacred mission. It's, in a way, it's what is the response to the meta crisis that we're seeing happening around us? Because on one hand, it's palatable and it's easy to get caught up into the drama of it, or the intensity of the emotion of it. But on the other hand, there's something emerging from it that is a sacred mission. And to me, and I think this has been mentioned a few times already, but that sacred mission is this connection back to something much deeper, much greater than ourselves, that includes our place within nature, that includes the acknowledgement of what it means to be part of this community, not just on Earth here, but perhaps even galactically, perhaps even universally, right? And I know that sometimes it's a little difficult to stretch our consciousness to those depths, but I believe that is part of what we're experiencing, is this expansion of who we are, what we're connected to, and sort of the interconnection that exists, and how that ultimately will drive the change in the way we feel, the way we experience ourselves and our world, but also the actions and decisions that we make. And so with that sort of being the sacred mission that's been driving me for a while, one of the big things that I've focused on in my work over the last few years, or I should say the last 15 years, has really been sort of this interdisciplinary play of what happens when you explore emerging consciousness and the healing arts, and sort of this aspect of embodiment with the observation of our current events, of why our society is designed the way it is, looking at from a bit of a systems lens, and kind of understanding, like, what are the interplaying factors here, and ultimately how do we then create the conditions for something new to emerge. And so we've kind of been focused on this concept that I came up with, perhaps it already existed, I'm not sure, but I've been calling it embodied sense making for the past little while. And it's really this idea that when we begin to talk about and explore ideas, can we embody them? Can we bring them into ourselves as a space where it ultimately creates conditions for something new to emerge? So it's almost like we can understand the theory around conscious ideas, we can understand the theory around where we might want to go, but what if we embody that so deeply that the qualities that emerge from that is the actions that are driven by that consciousness, right? So what we've done is we've kind of looked at kind of through the somatic lens that I've been training in for the last, 4 or 5 years or so, we've been looking at how do you, sort of create the conditions in the physical body where we slow down in our modern world. We start placing our attention in various areas of our body, but we use that awareness as a way to take in our external world and ask important questions, important inquiries, right? This is where, to me, it becomes very practical, because we can be triggered by something that's happening in our world around us, or we can get into conversation with people about what some of the solutions are to the challenges that we have. And we're noticing a lot of polarization, a lot of divide. We can't get on the same page together. And a lot of that, if you are embodied and you kind of look closer, there are moments where we're maybe becoming defensive, or we're maybe othering the other person, or we're maybe not really considering, them as a stakeholder in this whole experience. We're not considering their perception or their experience. And so this process of embodied sense making is really to say, can we embody so deeply that we can integrate every single person's experience, and we can integrate the reality of what's driving our current world now, such that we can, instead of having such a judgment towards it per se, we can see where it's coming from. And then, while embodying a new and emerging consciousness from this place of presence and creating the conditions for something new to emerge, we can then have conversations about what is being felt, what is wanting to come out of us as this sensation, as this feeling of what we could create together. And so one of the big things for me has been this question of, okay, if that is kind of the process of embracing and creating our sacred mission here, what needs to happen on a practical level on a day-to-day basis for people to be able to kind of sense and feel into what it means to become embodied? And with our if we look at our existing system as it is today, there's so much pressure to do a lot. There's so much, I guess you could say, demand, right? We have to pay our bills. We have to do, take the kids to practice or whatever it might be, or all these different things that are going on. Plus, we're paying attention to the news and social media. And I think the biggest key is we got to begin to slow down. And we got to create that space within ourselves to come back to our body, to sense the subtle energies of our body, to sense something deeper, get into our hearts, right? And really do this and take this seriously as a practice, because the more we do this, the more we create the conditions in ourselves to be able to respond to the moment in a healthy way, to get some of the traumas or the ways in which we have been, let's say, changed at a deeper wiring level by our existing system. We kind of get some of that out of the way, and we allow something deeper in ourselves to emerge. And from there, the clarity of what might be our individual mission begins to emerge, right? The clarity of how to connect on a collective level begins to emerge. And I believe deep within our DNA is this understanding of how to create a world where humanity thrives. And of course, humanity is part of nature. So if humanity's thriving, nature's thriving. We've only separated ourselves from nature in our current worldview. But if we get deep into that understanding within ourselves, the qualities, the endogenous qualities of that state of being will create a thriving world naturally. So I think the key is to get back within, and then have conversation and have planning sessions and have exploration from that connected state. And I believe that's what will help to emerge a new thriving world. But that's it. That's all for me. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Joe Martino. That was absolutely brilliant. Thank you, Joe. Really enjoyed very much hearing your expressions of that, and looking forward to learning more about your work and connecting more with it. A lot of really positive comments in the chat. We'll make sure we save that and share it around. Joe, thank you. Thank you for being with us. Hope you can stay with us, and really enjoyed that expression of your wisdom and your learnings and your lessons as well. So we're very richly blessed. And Joe Martino came to us through the amazing network of the evolutionary leaders and through Diane Williams. So thanks to Diane for connecting you in. Joe, that was a really great contribution, brother. Thank you. All right, we got one or two more visionary speakers before we get to the engagement session, which we're really excited to jump in, everybody in the room. But we've got some amazing global speakers to come through. It really is an incredible global network that's come together. Imane, Assaf came to us through Purpose Earth, primary sponsors of Unity.earth. And let me give a shout out to Purpose Earth, who have just recently been honored with an Anthem Award, prestigious Anthem Award, and well-deserved as well. So thanks to Purpose Earth, we have our next speaker, Imane, Assaf. Imane believes that generosity and kindness are powerful tools to be implemented into our personal growth. To be able to spread that to the community is an amazing thing. She founded the Beirut, Lebanon-based NGO Al-Hafawda in 2013 with the goal to support, provide for, assist, and sustain basic necessities for Lebanon's most vulnerable communities. Al-Hafawda organizes cultural festivals, environmental protection projects, and provides much-needed food, clothing, and medicine aid. In 2019, Imane co-founded the NGO Art of Change. What a beautiful name, Art of Change. Also based in Lebanon. Art of Change promotes hope by beautifying communities through creating breathtaking murals and turning the streets into large public galleries. So far, they've created over 200 murals across Lebanon. Imane, Assaf, it is absolutely delightful to have you back with us, and welcome to this symposium, Awakening to Humanity's Sacred Mission. We're delighted to have you.
Thank you, Ben. I'm humbled to be among such amazing speakers. Thank you so much. I'm happy to share my vision and how I see the approach that we work with on the humanity. I believe 2024 is a year for contemplating what has unfolded in the realm of humanity, urging us to deeply reflect upon the tapestry of human existence. It's a time to discern between right and wrong and to heed the call to embrace the sacred mission of humanity. The difficulty and challenges in delivering humanitarian aid lies not in the assistance itself, but rather in the unfortunate prioritization of aid based on political correctness and approval by global powers, rather than addressing the stark realities of famine, deprivation, and extreme poverty. Regrettably, in recent years, humanitarian efforts have been overshadowed by commercial interests and potentially skewed by monetary considerations that fail to capture the true essence of humanitarianism. In the wake of the recent international crisis and economic collapses, we are presented with a clarion call to shift our focus from a profit-driven economy to one centered on human flourishing. This is not merely a dream, but a tangible reality unfolding before us, a movement towards an economic empowerment, community engagement, and a new world order guided by the principles of compassion and empathy. I live in a region where we are constantly faced with economical and political crises, to international feuds and wars which ravish and tear at the fabric of our societies. The challenges we face are monumental. Yet in the face of these trials, we choose and are determined not to falter in our commitment to the sacred essence of humanity. For a decade, NGO Ahla Fawda, which means the best chaos, despite the mentioned challenges, has remained unwavering in its commitment to humanity and community. We have stumbled, we have learned, but we have never strayed from our core mission. We recognize the delicate balance between meeting needs and preventing exploitation. The fine line between necessity and greed is evident to us. And as an NGO, it is our responsibility to empower communities without fostering dependency. Therefore, Ahla Fawda have adopted an approach focused on engagement and empowerment, aiming to preserve dignity while offering alternative solutions. Ahla Fawda's latest initiative, the Eco Hub, launched June 2023 with the support of Purpose Earth and other partners, embodies our dedication to human-centric endeavors, serving as a one-stop shopping experience. It provides equal opportunities to all. Through this endeavor, we are establishing a parallel economy, utilizing waste as a currency to directly benefit the underprivileged, while also offering educational and upskilling opportunities. The Eco Hub adopts a unique twofold approach. Beneficiaries participate by bringing recyclables to the Eco Hub, fostering a culture of environmental responsibility. The recycling unit serves as an eco bank, offering points or cash in exchange for the recyclables brought. In return, individuals can benefit with their collected points from our grocery store. The store was built with a minimum waste approach from upcycled materials and with the objective of limiting packaging. Beneficiaries are given the equal purchasing power, are warmly invited to select items they need from our range of products. This isn't just a transaction. It's a thoughtful and dignified experience designed to put the well-being of our beneficiaries at the forefront. At the heart of the EcoHub lies a simple yet profound truth. That true progress is measured not in profits, but in the well-being of our communities. Through our new Green Heroes program, a partnership with local businesses, we are not only feeding families and reducing waste, but we are also nurturing a culture of environmental stewardship and social responsibility. Since we launched the Green Heroes program in August 2023, we have fed 190 families, approximately 760 people. 17 businesses have registered, 64 contributions of recycling, and more than 420 kilos of waste collected. We believe that this program will continue growing as new partnerships with local businesses are made every month. We are able to collect more and want to grow this as it increased the recycling rate, allowing us to feed families and educate the population about recycling. With phase 1 now completed of the EcoHub, our vision is of a dynamic, forward-thinking community committed to a sustainable future. 2024, we embarked on a new chapter in our journey. The EcoHub stands as a testament to our vision. Through inventive solutions and community-driven projects, we are paving the way toward a sustainable future, one that embraces diversity, cultivates resilience, and sparks positive change. In Beirut, or anywhere in Lebanon, the term fawda, chaos, is frequently heard. I believe we have succeeded in transforming what is generally a negative term into something beautiful and constructive. We believe that Ahla Fawda has become a beacon of hope, a catalyst for transformation, and a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. Ahla Fawda's vision of its humanitarian mission extends beyond the present. Excuse me. It encompasses the future, embracing art, culture, and the transformative changes that can free us from the confines of being labeled as beneficiaries and dependent. Our goal is to foster independence, productivity, and contribute in a modest way to the preservation of Beirut's cultural heritage. Our dream is still unfolding, our mission is still evolving, but our commitment to humanity remains steadfast. In the face of chaos and uncertainty, we stand together in solidarity, guided by the timeless values of compassion, kindness, and humanity. We are trying to sow the seeds of peace, nurture the flames of hope, and usher in a new era of enlightenment and understanding, especially considering the region we live in. We believe that partnership with like-minded initiatives, we can build a world where every voice is heard, every life is valued, and every heart with compassion. This is our sacred duty, our noble mission, and our shared destiny as custodians of the human spirit. Thank you.
Thank you, Imane. Thank you so much for sharing that incredible work on the ground, active on the ground in Beirut. You know, of course, one of the more challenging contexts and parts of our planet. And you're doing extraordinary work there and continuing to evolve new projects and continue to use that creativity and that positivity with your partners in your team to bring, you know, transformation and value to the communities there. So deep gratitude to you, and we look forward to much more to come and engagement as to how can we coordinate and organize and collaborate in even more effective and powerful ways. Thank you for being with us and for blessing us with your message today.